Welcome to the Justin in the Jungle podcast, putting all the Bengals opponents on blast. Hosted by Justin Wood, a real Bengals truther. Some of y'all might know him as Randy Ruther. Let's get into it. Let's get it cracking. All aboard. Justin's driving Victor Wagon. It's the Justin in the Jungle podcast. And since it's a new day, it's the Justin in the Jungle podcast. Can Randy Ruther get a hoot, eh?
Got a theme song? What is going on, y'all? Season 2, episode 1. Some of you guys are probably like, what, he's not going to do one? Was it just a one and done? No, it wasn't a one and done. I've been moving. As you can see, I don't have everything up yet. But the cool announcement, as you can see, Topo Chico, y'all. The official hard seltzer of Justin in the Jungle. Got a tall boy for this one. But here we go. I got the watermelon. No, I'm sorry. The strawberry guava today. Pick up Topo Chicos wherever you can find them. And for you guys that don't drink, they got regular sparkling water. So you can go grab that. Topo Chico, baby. Yeah, I got stuff to make a background to. I just got to get a drill so I can drill some stuff and get some stuff hung. But I wanted to get one of these podcasts out, man. I miss doing this. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm actually writing Bengals articles for thenoise.com. So head on over to thenoise.com and click on Bengals and you'll see some of my articles there. How do I start this off? 0-2. No, here's how we're going to start it off. Fuck Joe Prano. You guys, most of you guys listening to this, it's a crossover from Dirty Sports. But yeah, Joe Prano, man. If you guys don't know who Joe Prano is, he's a fucker. He's handsome, dude. I'll give him. He's handsome. Grows a mustache like no other. So I can't hate on him too much. But he's been calling me a crybaby all week because I'm pretty upset about that holding call or missed holding call. So when I see Joe Prano, he's a handsome dude, though. I will give him that. But I didn't really do a rundown this week because I woke up this morning. I was like, I want to get a podcast out today. So there was really no rundown or there's not going to be any. This is going to be more just a rant for the first episode. Season 2, we're back. Yeah, like I said, sorry I didn't get one out the first 2 weeks. I have been moving. I've relocated to Joe Prano just texted me. But I just moved to the west side of Los Angeles, back by the water. It feels good to be back over on this side of town. So yeah. Anyone who's listening to help me move, thank you. I appreciate that. And if anyone else wants to come over and help me hang stuff the next couple days, that'd be great. All right. See, week 1, that had Bengals game written all over it, if I'm being honest with you. After that game, the Bengals versus rookie quarterbacks and career backups, 9-7. Jacoby Brissett has 2 of those 9. I don't know how we do it, but we make the opposing team's quarterback look like Patrick Mahomes. Yet somehow this week, we held Patrick Mahomes to only 6 completions across the line of scrimmage. Like, I don't know. I'll be honest, man. The first week, it was really frustrating. I'm big on Zach Moss. I'll tell you guys that right now. I am big on Zach Moss. Zach Moss had our lone touchdown of the week, had 45 rushing yards, which isn't appealing. Until you look, he only ran the ball 9 times. He's averaging 5 a carry. I think the longest pass of the game was 28 yards because New England's defense Y'all, I play fantasy football, right? I've been playing for probably 15 years. Twice have I finished in the top 3. So I admit I'm not good at fantasy football. But that being said, I could tell you what plays the Bengals were going to run. And I play fantasy football, reality football. The New England's defensive coordinator, I'm sure he knows. I mean, if I'm telling you what is happening, he's going to be telling you what's happening. Guys, I went to Santa Monica College down the street for like damn near 7 years. Still didn't get my associates, but I could tell you what the Bengals were doing, y'all. What are we doing? That same game, yeah, I don't know. We had check down Charlie. That's what I call Joe Burrow in week 1. I mean, week 1 Bengals is a thing. I mean, I wrote this article about the week 1 Bengals and how, just Zach Taylor doesn't show up. And let's be honest, the Bengals don't show up on week 1 ever. But everyone's like, hey, the Patriots are like the worst team in the league. You guys, this will be a cakewalk for you. And I was like, relax. Relax. This isn't going to be a cakewalk. I knew it was going to be a fight. I did think they were going to win it, but they didn't. After the game, they announced Jasicki's touchdown that got called out was an actual touchdown now. And I'm not even angry about it. Like, my thing is like, why even put that news out? Like, what good does that do? You're just going to piss a fan base off by saying, yeah, you know what? We messed up. So, yeah. He should have held on to it the whole time. I get that. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I don't know. I think it was Sample or who was. I don't even know. The fumble on the goal line. Like, what are you doing? You're just. You're. It looked like you're doing a salsa dance and just holding your arm out for a beautiful young lady to come take it and dance with her. And that's not no. Like that fumble killed us too. And I mean, there's a bunch of things like we just look like week 1 Bengals. It's a thing. We continue to be awful in week 1. And then week 2 comes around. And I know we're still without Higgins and it's Kansas City. I wasn't excited about the game. I mean, I was excited, obviously. They're always good games. But I was like, all right, man, if you lose this, relax. You're the Bengals. You start 0-2 all the time, except 1 year since 2020, and they needed overtime against the Vikings to win that game. So this game, I go into the game, I'm like, all right, well, if we don't win, don't be upset. Like, it's almost like that what's that creepy dude's name, that the meme where he's in the noose and he's like, what, your first time? Like, that was me going into the game. Like, it was cool. We had a reunion of our former Bengals backers that used to meet at Barney's Beanery on the Santa Monica Promenade before COVID. And we all just haven't seen each other in a few years. And we all met up at Thunderbird on Saturday. So I was like, hey, good vibes. Like, regardless of what happens, I'm going to stay in a good mood. Like, there's a good chance the Bengals aren't going to win this game. You're without, one of your receivers. And yeah, it could just easily go in that direction. And it did. It went in, but here's the thing is I was pissed, man. The Bengals on one one part of me is saying, hey, man, this Bengals team looks good. Like, of all the 0-2 Bengals teams, and I hate to even start it like that, but of all the 0-2 Bengals teams, this could be the squad. I think this squad has a ton of potential. Like I said earlier, like our quarterbacks, our corners and DBs, and basically the defense, let's be honest, they held Mahomes to only 6 passes past the line of scrimmage. 2 picks, 155 or 151 yards? Like, we did that to Mahomes. We made Travis Kelce not a thing. The NFL hated to see it, but yes, we made Travis Kelce not a thing. Speaking of NFL. Yeah, it's rigged, guys. But here's another thing that pissed me off, dude. So, we're dominating that game. Like, even I knew coming out of halftime up by 6 is like, they're going to march you down and score. And this is when Joe Burrow comes to play. Like, we saw mid-season Joe Burrow on Sunday, but we also saw the NFL officials. I don't care what the boys are saying over on Dirty Sports. Like, have your fun. Like, make fun of the Bengals fandom. Like, who cares? Like they're turning into the fighter and the kid over there. Like, they contradict themselves on everything now. So it's like, if I knew how to edit videos, we could do that for the boys. Like, you remember Andy was like, hey, the reason I stopped liking the Bengals was Mike Brown and Bengals fans don't care. Like, I went to a playoff game, and after they lost, they were all still having a good time. They weren't upset. A few moments later, I'm tired of after every time the Bengals lose, how upset the fan base gets. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I thought it was the opposite, like last year or so. And then Joe was like, you can't complain about non-calls in the NFL. I can screenshot every single offensive play, and there's always a holding. Okay, I'll give you that. But week 6 against Buffalo last year, when Darren Waller got held, pretty sure you were pretty fired up about that non-pass interference call, Joe. And I think I could screenshot every single time a football is thrown and find some type of pass interference. So, Joe, you can't complain about that, bud. And then he's like, well, I've never said that they did that because the NFL is rigged. All right, he's got to say it. Like, but come on, we all did it with the Patriots. We're doing it. The Chiefs are the new Patriots. If you win back-to-back Super Bowl, if you're on pace to be a 3-peating team, which could very easily happen, people hate greatness. They do. And guess what? The Chiefs are great, so I hate them. Do I think the NFL is rigged? No. Is it fun to say? Of course. So, shut up, Joe. Oh, man. So what else is new, fellas? 2 weeks in the books, 2 weeks down. It happens, but here we are. As much as week 1 and 2 Bengals is a thing, brothers, week 3 Bengals is a thing. Joe Burrow has never lost in week 3. Never lost in week 3. He tied one year with the Eagles, his rookie year, but he's never lost. Primetime Joe Burrow has never lost a regular season game outside of the AFC North. And now you got the Commanders coming in, who ended his season, his rookie campaign. And now we have them week 3 on Monday night. And for the gamblers in the crew, Joe Burrow 6-0-1 against the spread after a 2-game win-lose streak. And I get it. My boy Mike Wolf, Cincinnati guy. Not really a Bengals fan, kind of a He cheers for the Bengals, like, because, he's from Cincinnati. So he's got the place in his heart for him. But when I told him that stat, which I'm just name dropping here, Sean Green from Sports Gambling Podcast is the one that sent that stat to me. So, of course, I take it and put it in a group chat. And Mike's like, that's a lot of week two, I mean, 2-game losing streaks. I was like, yeah, you're right. It is. But here's where it all comes back down to Zach Taylor. Like, Zach Taylor, 9-20 against the AFC North. But here's the thing, boys. Remember how long Marvin Lewis was our head coach? Having never won a playoff game? How do you think Zach Taylor is going to be after a Super Bowl appearance? He's going to have that job till he's 106 years old. And somehow Mike Brown's still going to be alive. And I don't know how this is going to happen, but it will. It's just how the organization is. But that's why we love this squad, dude. That's why we love this squad. What else we want to talk about, man? We got a few more minutes before I jump. I'll make it quick today. Today's is just, I just wanted to get one back out there just to get the wheels going. It's like my backdrop's not ready yet, but it's like, when a restaurant first opens, they do like a dry run just to get back in. That's what we're doing. And we're coming back to 2 times a week. I got the day off of work today, so I might go ahead and just start getting the background done, because I got some cool stuff, man. I got some cool stuff that I'm excited about. I'm excited about this season still. I do think that Monday's going to be a huge bounce back game. If you are married, you might want to take your wife's wedding ring and pawn it this week and throw your whole mortgage on the Bengals on Monday, over on everything. Then you might want to buy it back afterwards. But if you're not married, dude, maybe your mom or grandma has a jewelry box that you can break into and steal. It's I don't know if you guys remember the movie Requiem for a Dream, but maybe that. I mean, when he kept stealing his mom's TV and selling it for heroin. Just sell it for a Bengals victory Monday, because we got that. And I'll be back on to talk more about that game Monday. And I got a friend who's a Commanders fan, so we might go back to the old school. We'll go back to what we did last season. The second episode of the week will always be with a fan of the other team. Shout out to our boy Andy Dalton, former Bengal, back in the starting lineup in Carolina. So Carolina will probably go 15-2 with the red rifle back. So we'll see, baby. We'll see. But I am excited about this team, man. Look, I will sit here and talk all the shit about Zach Taylor. You guys, I've never made it like, when he calls a good game, I will be the first. I gladly eat crow when he calls good games. Like, I get to eat crow twice a year. It's great. But one thing I will say is, one of my first articles I wrote for The Noise was about something that I complained about last year, about how Zach Taylor doesn't know how to use tight ends, and how excited I was when we drafted Gesicki. Like, I was like, oh, here we go. It was like a few years ago, he had back-to-back 700-yard seasons. So you throw that dude in there with, our wide receiving core, especially when Higgins gets back, and you're like, damn, this could be something. But then, boys, I was like, where have I heard this? It's been me every other season before this. It started with Hayden Hurst. I was like, oh, red zone threat. Here we go. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he had 1 receiving touchdown the entire year. No, I think 2. I think 2. Like, I'm doing this all of memory. Like, I could have a rundown where I could tell you the stats, but dude, we're not doing a rundown today. Then we had Irv Smith. I remember how excited I was about Irv Smith. And I was like, damn. Irv Smith had 1 touchdown all season. With how athletic and everything else he was, I thought, here's our tight end. And now I said that about Gesicki. And look, and before you get on Uzama or how great he was, remember all of his stats basically came in 2 games. Like, he had a great game against Jacksonville on a Thursday night game. And then it was against Baltimore on like later in the season. He had like 4 touchdowns in 2 games. And he had 5 touchdowns total the whole season. So trust me. But I will say this. I live in an apartment now, so I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking. I'm about to fight that dog, dude. I got a cat. She's running around here. But I'll say this about Sunday. There were some bright spots to take away from that game. And honestly, I loved the activeness, how we kept our tight ends active in that game. So if there is one thing that I will say, like, there were some at moments where I was just like, what are we doing? Still, he doesn't. I'll give him that. He was using the tight ends well. But I will say he needs to learn how to use a running back, man. Like, when you were averaging 5 a carry like Moss is a good back. Moss was a big part of the Colts last year when Taylor went down. And we see like signs there. And we see signs with Chase Brown. Like, they're good. Like, I don't know, I do think that Moss would be a better every down back. Like, not every down, but more consistent. Like, give him the majority of the carries. But we just abandoned the run. Like, every drive that we have looked good this season, the run's been there. And I don't get why Taylor's been like that. And look at it this way, boys. Week 1, right? Like last season, myself included, we're like, hey, Mixon's done. Like, Mixon, thank you for everything you did. Like, you were great for the franchise. You were there through some hard years. You were there through some good years. And he was always like positive. But I just thought he was done. I was like, look at his numbers. Look at his, like, the fall off now. So when they let him go to Houston, I was like, hey, like Fallout Boy, thanks for the memories. And you're that guy that you'll come back to the stadium and you always get your round of applause. Like, we all love you, Look what he did week 1 when he had a coach that knew how to utilize him on a high-powered offense like the Bengals have. Boys, look what our offensive line did in week 2. Like, they gave Burrow over 2 seconds, like, each time he dropped back. Like, that was the best the line has looked in so long. And I know they have like a game or 2 every year where they look good and everything's clicking. But boys, that's how they're like, we're only in week 2 with this line. So let's see, man. I mean, Monday could be a booster for them. It could, but it's the Bengals. I might be throwing my TV over the balcony by halftime. But I just don't get why, like, the line's looking good. Why do we keep abandoning the run? You have decent running backs back there. I'm not saying they're, top dogs in the NFL, but Moss deserves more than 9 carries a game. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I will come back later this week with episode 2. Feels good to be back. Feels good to be back on here. Yeah, and also head over to thenoise.com and check out some of my articles. Yeah, I've just really been enjoying writing for them, but there's something about the pod, man. I'm glad to be back. We got a lot of weeks still to come. We got a lot of football to be played. We're gonna be all right. It's week 3. We'll be all right. Topo Chico, go grab some. You know, it's delicious. It's the hard seltzer of Justin in the Jungle. And I thank them for everything that they've given me. And I thank you guys for tuning in, man. We're back. Gave you guys 26 minutes right now. It's about how I like to keep them. So, yeah, I'll be back later this week. Until then, boys, hoo day.